loves, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel if this is your first time here. My name is Day, and if you like videos like this one, please go ahead, subscribe, join the lovely family because you are going to love this channel. And for those of you who have been here, thank you all so much for coming back to see me. So in today's video, guys, we are talking about lock counts, the number of locks you have on your head. This was an interesting topic for me because before I started documenting my lock journey for YouTube, lock count was not something that I cared about, thought about, understood why other people cared about it. And I get it, but even now to this day, I cannot wrap my mind around the fact that people are so interested in the amount and number of locks that someone else has. If you are new in the journey, or if you are thinking about getting locks, because I know a lot of people are thinking about it, not there yet, the amount of locks that you have does not necessarily mean that yields the type of style you have. Let me explain to you guys what that means. So you may be on Instagram, on YouTube, Pinterest, whatever you do, probably all of those, looking up lock styles, right? And you see someone, you come across a lock Instagrammer or a lock YouTuber, and you ask them, how many locks do you have? And they tell you, and you keep that number in your mind so that when you start, you can have that amount of locks, thinking that your hair will look like theirs. I hope that I'm not the one to break the bad news, but the reality is your hair is just not gonna look like how someone else's hair is gonna look. Personally, because I get this question a lot, almost every day, someone asks me, how many locks do I have? And the answer is 52. I have 52 locks. The only reason I counted my locks is because a lot of people started asking me how many locks I had. And I wanted to be able to have an answer for them. Someone like me, I don't have that many actual hairs on my head. Of course, that number is impossible to count. You know, the word of God says only the Lord knows how many hairs is on everyone's head. But I know just by like looking at my hair and having lived with it for so long that I don't have as many actual hairs as someone else may have. You know, some other lock YouTubers or just other people with locks in general, they can have 52 locks just like me, and their hair will be so much fuller, so much bigger, so much fluffier. And the reason being is their hair, they have actual more hairs on their head. It took me a long time to wrap my mind around that. I really didn't understand that for a while. Experience is what taught me that, and you know, just paying attention to hair types, hair textures, and things like that. It definitely ranges. Like a lot of people I know typically have on average between like 80 and 100 locks. I did not plan on having 52 locks. It's not something that I mapped out. I kind of just put the 2-strand twist in my head, and later on like decided on that. I knew I wanted less locks, but I didn't know the exact number, of course. And even if I did, it just doesn't mean that your hair will yield a certain look. So I think that's most important for people to understand. I know a lot of people want to restart their lock journey because they feel like if they have a smaller, you know, number of locks or a larger number of locks, and their hair will look different. And sometimes that's not always the case. If you take out your thick locks and you put smaller locks in your head, your hair still may be just as thick, especially if you had thick hair before you started your journey. Your hair is just thick. Same on the other end. If you had a certain amount of locks and you think that taking them out and putting a smaller amount in your head will make them thicker, it might, you know, the actual locks may be bigger, but that doesn't mean that your hair overall is going to be fuller. And that's something that it took me a long time to realize, to understand, and to honestly come to terms with myself and say, Day, like, your hair is your hair. You know, my hair is never gonna look like, I'll see if I can find a picture, some other people's that I've seen on Pinterest and things like that, like I want it to. It's fine. That's part of the journey too, is realizing that your hair is your hair, your journey is your journey, and it's not gonna be anyone else's. It's not gonna look like anyone else's, and you have to love yourself through that. Learn not to compare yourself to other people. It's perfectly fine to admire people as well, but please don't envy the lock count and, you know, think that, man, I should have did things differently because my hair would have looked like that if I if I had this amount of locks, because it's absolutely not true. Like, the sooner that you can realize that that's the sooner that you will be happy with your lock count. I know that there are several people as well who are looking to combine their locks, thinking that will give them a different look. And sometimes it may, sure, but coming from experience, I had in my last journey a certain amount of locks, and I thought that combining my locks would give me like a fuller look. And to be honest, this journey, my locks are bigger, but overall I don't have really full big hair, and that has a lot to do with my hair texture. So even if I combined all of my locks the last time, my overall look, it would have been somewhat similar because of the amount of hairs on my head. So that's just my advice to you guys, because I know a lot of people are like, I'm gonna start combining, I'm gonna combine my locks. And to be honest, combining your locks sometimes can take far longer than locking your hair to begin with, because taking two locks that are, you know, coiled within themselves and trying to combine them and make them mesh into each other, it just takes a long time. It's a long process. Some of my locks took over a year and a half to even begin to combine, and then even then you can still see the twist pattern. So that's just something to consider as well. You can always take them out, start over if you feel like it's that serious, but sometimes it really just comes down to your hair type. That's it. Like, sometimes it's just not the lock count, it really is just your hair. So something to consider and to encourage you guys about, because I know a lot of people, you know, sometimes they're not really satisfied about how a loctician did their hair or how they did their own hair. And sometimes it is best to learn how to work with what you have. You should never feel like you're trapped in a journey, but sometimes it really is best to understand, okay, my hair looks like this just because that's how my hair is, and not because, you know, I did something wrong necessarily, you know? For those of you who are interested in knowing what 52 locks looks like on me because of, you know, the hair type that I have, this is what I have going on now. I did a retwist, maybe like a week ago, guys. So this is like a week after retwist. And like I said, I don't have that many hairs on my head, so you guys will notice like 52 locks. I mean, it still looks a little bit, I mean, it doesn't look like a whole lot of hair, not to me. You know, and I just don't have a whole lot of hair on my head. I never really have, so, you know, hey, I'm happy. I've come to accept that because I did go through a time where I really, you know, envied other people and their hair type, but not anymore. Thank you guys so much for coming back to my channel. I still would love to hear your thoughts below, because I know a lot of people don't really see the community tab and weren't really putting their lock count in there. So if you haven't, I would love to have you guys go ahead, respond down below so we can get a conversation started about it. Thank you guys so much for keeping me company during this time of being stuck in the house. My goodness. And of course, I will see you all in my next video. Bye.